You don't have to be dumb forever. And to be honest, no one is actually dumb.
So if you're from Africa, why are you white?
Well, actually, not the point. Harvard psychologists have found a way for you to go from being not the smartest in the room to being the smartest in the room. And it's so easy that children can do it. Children. It was the 1970s and Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck, along with her colleagues, started to question something that they observed in classrooms. Why did some students bounce back from failure whilst others just completely shut down? Same classroom, same teacher, same subject, but totally different reactions. Dweck and her team studied the behavior of thousands of students, and what they discovered was literally mind-altering. They found that it was really and truly all about mindset. Dweck coined two terms to really describe what was happening here. The first is growth mindset, and the second is fixed mindset. Someone who possesses a growth mindset believes that intelligence can grow with effort and learning, and that failure isn't a dead end, but instead it's just a stepping stone. They believe that the more you work, the better you get. Students with this mindset didn't believe that their intelligence was fixed at some peculiar time in life. They genuinely believed it could grow, it could develop, and it could evolve. In essence, children with this mindset didn't believe that failure determined their intelligence. If they got a question wrong today, then they believe that they can get it right tomorrow if they put in the time to work hard, to learn, and to develop their skills. The second term is fixed mindset. As you might have guessed, those with a fixed mindset genuinely believed that their intelligence was pretty much that, fixed. To these students, intelligence was unchangeable. If they got an answer wrong today, they believe that they're going to be getting that answer wrong tomorrow and the next day too. To this group of people with a fixed mindset, they believe that there are people that are smart and there are people that are not. And if they're in the group of people that are not smart, then why bother trying? Because they're not going to get it right. Because they're not smart. Unsurprisingly, Dweck found that those with a growth mindset were able to be much more successful in their tests and their overall academic achievements. Recent research on neuroplasticity has actually taught us that the brain is a lot more adaptable, a lot more malleable than we ever thought. With practice, neural networks grow new connections, strengthen existing ones, and even build insulation to make signals travel faster. Translation, our brains, with some effort, with some repetition, can literally grow. That's crazy. Every time that you challenge yourself, whether that's through solving a new math problem, learning a new language, or learning to play the guitar, your brain literally changes. The more you practice, the better you get. Our brains are literally changing. It's growing, it's learning, it's understanding, it's adapting. So intelligence is not fixed. It's literally the opposite of that. It's flexible. If we train our brains, we can literally go from being the not so smartest person in the room to being the smartest person in the room. Research on brain plasticity has shown how connectivity between neurons can change with experience. With practice, neural networks grow new connections, strengthen existing ones, and even build insulation that speeds transmission of impulses. And Dweck did not stop there. She ran a now famous study with over 400 fifth graders about praise. Students were given a puzzle to solve. She then split them into two groups, Group A and Group B, and praised these two different groups in very different ways. Group A were praised for how smart they were, whereas Group B were praised for how hard they worked. Okay, so you might be asking now, what is the difference between these two statements and why would students react differently to them? This is where it gets interesting. After praising the children, they gave them an option on their next test. Option 1, children could take this test that was a bit more difficult, and the researchers told the children, this test will be a bit harder, but it would be a great opportunity to learn and grow. Option 2, children could take another test that was similar to the first and one that they would surely do well on. It wasn't much harder and it'd be a lot easier to pass. 67 of the students that were praised for intelligence chose the easier option, while 92% of the students that were praised for their effort and for working hard chose the harder option. The next test they gave the students was incredibly difficult, one that they were surely gonna fail. So Dweck really wanted to look at how the different groups of children that were praised differently would attack this challenge. She noticed that the group that were praised for effort actually worked harder, they worked longer, and they actually enjoyed this difficult test more than the group that were praised for their intelligence. The group that were praised for their intelligence actually grew very frustrated very quickly and gave up quite early. So can you actually go from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset? I spent a few months conducting my own research, but I also came across a super interesting case from a school thousands of miles away from where I am that actually tried out this growth and fixed mindset thing too. A school called Fisk Elementary completed a mindset training course and embedded it into the school's culture. They taught their children that intelligence is malleable, that their brains could literally grow with effort. Students became more confident, more motivated, more resilient. They started working harder, even when they failed. And even when math scores in the state remained stagnant, Fisk Elementary's improved. A renewed mindset wasn't just making them feel better, it was literally making them more intelligent. When I discovered Dweck's study a few years ago and this whole idea about growth mindset and fixed mindset, I thought to myself quite quickly, oh, I'm so happy that this has proved that I have a growth mindset. Whenever I fail, I stand up and I try again and I try again and I try again until completion, until I feel like I've satisfactorily completed that thing. But I was very quickly humbled. I found that I actually had quite a fixed mindset when it came to maths. Luckily, I did find in my research a few years ago that Dweck does discuss of having a fixed mindset in one thing and then having a growth mindset in other things as well. Despite achieving a B in maths GCSE, the idea of maths honestly just started to intimidate me in my adult life. I genuinely let that self-created intimidation swallow me whole until I outrightly decided that if anyone asks me a math question or if there's a maths equation I need to solve, I will be using my calculator, like for the rest of my life. And honestly, just up until a few years ago, if anyone asked me a basic maths question, I would very, very quickly shoot back and say, don't ask me, I can't do maths, I don't know anything about maths. That is such a fixed mindset approach to mathematics. The truth is, I actually just did not realize that I had a fixed mindset when it came to maths. As described by Dweck in her studies, I just believed that this thing, maths, was just not my thing. However, when I did realize that this was a limiting belief, I did set out to change it. I guess one of the main ways we overcome a fixed mindset is taking action. So what I did is I sat myself down, I humbled myself at the humble age of 23 and said, we're gonna sit down on this laptop where the internet is free for me. I did a very basic maths course, and the more I practiced every single day and finished that course, I found, wait, I actually can do maths. I honestly just regained my confidence in this subject. And now when it was time to work something out, whether we're in a shop or whatever it is, I was able to actually challenge myself to do it. And if I got it wrong, that no longer put me down. I would just continue to think, where did I go wrong in this? And how can I learn to do that equation better next time? To the point I'd even ask people like, oh, how did you work that one out? What did you do to work that maths question out? And now I believe I can do maths. I will challenge myself. Before I use my phone calculator, I will do it in my head. And that's a game. That sounds so simple, but that is such a game changer for me. And this is not to say that you should test my maths ability, by the way, but even if you did, and I was unable to figure out your Pythagoras theorem equation today, you could bet your top dollar that I would get it right tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this video just blessed you in the way that it needed to bless you. And please let me know down in the comments if you have a fixed mindset about anything. And if you do, what are you going to try and do to overcome that and go from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset? Essentially just going from not being the smartest person in the room about X topic to then shifting over and being the smartest person in the room about X topic. Let me know. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. Mwah.